6 o'clock.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 o'clock. It's time to begin our September 17th meeting. It's time to call ourselves to order. First item on the agenda is a proclamation observing Public Power Week. And I'd like to read a proclamation and present it to Mr. David Lucor, Energy Service Director.
I think congratulations also in store for David for being named our head of our electric department. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Well deserved.
This is Public Power Week. As I said, David, you being the Energy Service Director, I'd like to read this, not only you, but to the public. It says, whereas public power is a crucial component in cities and towns across North Carolina, contribute to the overall health of communities, by providing reliable electric, excellent local service, and proper restoration. Whereas North Carolina has 70 public power cities and towns are among the 2,000 across the country. Whereas many North Carolina public power cities and towns have been electric providers for more than 100 years, and that's true with the city of Monroe, as you probably know. Whereas public power meets the electric needs of 40 million Americans, almost 15% of electric customers. Whereas North Carolina public power utilities are valuable community assets and contribute to the well-being of the community and provide economic development opportunities. Whereas North Carolina's public power utilities are dependable institutions that provide excellent service and commitment to the community. Now, therefore, I, Bobby Kilgore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the Mayor of Monroe, do hereby proclaim October 6th through the 12th, 2019 Public Power Week, a week to promote North Carolina public power cities, towns for the contributions to the community, to encourage North Carolina public power community to join with all public power systems in the United States in the celebration of Public Power Week. In witness, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Monroe to be affixed this 17th day of September 2019. David, congratulations. Thank you for the job you've been doing for 30 years. And as Lynn and the council says, congratulations on your promotion to the new director at this time, and we know you continue to do the job you've done in the past, and we thank you for your service. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item 2, public comment period. Is anyone signed up who would like to speak on the public comment period? I have something coming here. Okay, I'll recognize Ms. Loretta. Here she goes. Okay, I believe you signed up. We'll recognize you at this time, Ms. Loretta. If you could hold it for 3 minutes, we would appreciate it.
Yes, I'm here to say thank you, especially to our mayor. He did read our proclamation. It was the last council meeting. And every time I get discouraged, I look at that proclamation and say, yes, I've got to continue with litter busters. I want to recognize that he was at our litter sweep this past Saturday, read the proclamation, and Gary Anderson was there as well, and I think his eyes were opened
Yes, ma'am.
to
We picked up a lot of litter.
yeah, and just a lot of roadside issues that we're facing. And Michelle King, I want to recognize you and your 2 girls who were there also. So that's what I have to say. A great big thank you again to my city and those that appreciate what Litter Busters is doing.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate what you do. Thank you so much. The consent agenda now, Mr. Leary.
Thank you, Mayor and members of City Council. City Council uses a consent agenda to consider items that are non-controversial and routine. The consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and vote of the council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of a council member or citizen with the consent of council. The consent agenda contains the following items. Item number 3 is for the purpose of adopting 2 resolutions, the first of which is to direct the clerk to investigate the petition for annexation And the second is to fix the date of a public hearing to be held on October 1st on the question of annexing 11.25 acres located on Airport Road as requested by Reiner Bio 1 North America. Item 4 is for the purpose of calling a special joint strategic planning meeting with City Council and Planning Board to be held on September 24th at 4:30 p.m., at which the planning staff and Kim Horn will provide a general status update for the rewrite of the Unified Development Ordinance and to discuss the proposed mixed-use districts and to review additional proposed sections at that time. Item 5 is for the purpose of calling a hearing on October 1st to consider an economic development aircraft incentive grant to a confidential company referred to as Project X-Wing. Item 6 is for the purpose of adopting a capital project budget ordinance to designate the North Carolina Municipal Power Agency 1 distribution of approximately $8.8 million to Monroe to be split between Monroe's Rate Stabilization Fund in the amount of $4.3 million and the remainder for future capital projects in the amount of $4.5 million. Item 7 is for the purpose of authorizing the mayor to execute the order of collection that authorizes the tax collector to collect the 2019-2020 tax levy in the amount of $20,566,997.65. Item 8 is for the purpose of approving the termination agreement for janitorial services with American Facility Services, Inc., and awarding the professional service contract for janitorial services with Greens Commercial Cleaning in the amount of $318,988. Item 9 involves minutes and reports lettered A through I. 9A involves disbursements from City Council's discretionary fund. There are 4 sets of disbursements, which I'll summarize. First of which is Mayor Bobby Kilgore dispersed $200 to Ground 40. Mayor Pro Tem Anderson had 2 disbursements, which included Union County Playmakers in the amount of $500 and the Monroe Civitan Club in the amount of $100. Councilmember Sluga Anthony had 2 disbursements, which included the Winchester Alumni Association in the amount of $375 and the Union County branch of the NAACP in the amount of $30. And fourth, Councilmember Franco McGee dispersed $250 to Heart for Monroe. Item 9B involves financial reports for August, and as a summary, I'll highlight several fund balance amounts. The total fund balance is $32,939,640. A few subsets of that number of total fund balance is fund balance reserved by policy, and that's $10,681,100. The unassigned general fund balance is $7.9 million and change, and the total assigned fund balance is currently at $639,652. Item 9C is a report from Finance that offers preliminary details on the fund balance calculation as of August 30th. The total estimated fund balance as of June 30th has increased over the total fund balance amount of preceding year by approximately $4.3 million. There are 6 sets of minutes lettered 9D through H, and 9I is summary of contracts awarded, change orders approved, and the city manager's settlement of claims. Of that, there were 47 contracts for the period totaling $434,000 in change, and there were no claims settled during that period. And Mayor, members of the City Council, that concludes my synopsis of items placed on your consent agenda.
Move that it be accepted.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Second. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass. Item 10, abandonment section of Crawford Street, Mr. Jim Lloyd.
Good evening. City Council is requested to consider a request submitted by Assistant City Manager Brian Bourne on behalf of the City of Monroe to abandon the section of North Crawford Street lying between Jefferson Street and Crawford Street. This section of Crawford Street, a 40-foot public right-of-way, is adjoined on either side by 2 properties owned by the city. A map is provided in your package for reference, and I have it on display here. This section of Crawford Street is proposed to be incorporated into the future plans for the senior center located to the west and will serve as a passive area and transition to the future parking lot that will serve the immediate area, and the future parking lot is located just to the east in this area here. In preparation for today's meeting, the proposed abandonment has been reviewed by the various departments, the city's technical review committee, and the Public Enterprise Committee. The City of Monroe has an above-ground power line in the area, along with a 6-inch water main and a 2-inch gas line located within the right-of-way. As part of the abandonment process, a public utility easement would need to be retained for the width of the right-of-way in keeping with North Carolina general statutes. Water Resources and Energy Services both confirmed the need for the area to be retained as general public utility easement. In compliance with the North Carolina general statutes, procedures for permanently closing streets and alleys, the following actions have been completed by staff. A copy of the resolution of intent has been sent by certified mail to the adjoining property owner, which in this case is the city. The street has been posted in 2 places along the right-of-way, and the resolution of intent has been published once a week for 4 consecutive weeks prior to today's public hearing. Resolution R-20-19-53, abandoning the section of Crawford Street lying between Jefferson Street and Coral Street, is attached for City Council's consideration. The Public Enterprise Committee and staff recommend that City Council adopt Resolution R-2019-53, close and abandoning the section of Crawford Street lying between Jefferson Street and Coral Street, and with it being subject to a public utility easement being retained in width of existing 40-foot right-of-way. Are there any questions?
I move that we approve the,
It's a public hearing.
oh, I'm sorry, we've got a public hearing.
Yeah. Council have any questions? Hearing none. Thank you, Jim. This is a public hearing. Anyone here who would like to speak in favor? Hearing none. Anyone like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public.
Move we,
Take action.
move we approve.
Have a motion to approve?
Second.
Have a motion to second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass. Thank you, sir. Item 11, zoning map amendment request is to rezone property located near intersection of James Hamilton Road and Rocky River Road from conditional district to conditional district, and this is a public hearing also. Doug Britt, thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Doug Britt in the Planning Department. Tonight I'm presenting a zone map amendment request filed by Moser Hall LLC for the properties located near the intersection of James Hamilton Road and Rocky River Road, further identified as tax parcel numbers 09336-029D and 029E. The request is to rezone the properties from conditional district Fowler Glen to conditional district Their Arbors. The current conditional district Fowler Glen was approved in 2004 and authorized the development of 38 single-family attached units. The density of the project was 2.48 units per acre with a minimum square footage of 1,600 square feet per unit with brick and stone exterior. The subject properties are outlined in blue, located along James Hamilton Road and Rocky River Road, and then Highway 74 is located to the south. Again, the properties are conditional district, and then the properties to the south are GB General Business, as well as to the east or to the west is GB and R40. And then to the north is R40, and then to the east is R40 as well. The applicant's proposing part of this project to be residential and part of it to be commercial. The commercial portion would front along Rocky River Road, and then the residential portion would front along James Hamilton Road. The applicant is requesting conditional district in order to develop a townhome project that will consist of 100 3-bedroom unit townhomes. The minimum lot size for the townhomes will be 2,178 square feet with an average of 2,379. The proposed townhomes will have a minimum heated square footage of 1,400 square feet of heated floor area with a minimum of a one-car garage. The townhome project will be accessed only off James Hamilton Road, and the density of the townhome portion will be 6.9 units per acre. The commercial portion, which again is located off of Rocky River Road, will be a 3-story, 90,000 square foot facility that will be a climate-controlled storage facility. And they will have a small portion located in this area that will be devoted for outside storage of like RVs, cars, or boats. Again, the storage facility will be comprised of 9,000 square feet, and it will be only accessed off of Rocky River Road, and there'll be no internal connection between the two uses. So you will not be able to go from the storage facility to the townhomes or vice versa. The setback for townhomes will be a 20-foot front setback, a 5-foot for the end units, and a 10-foot for the corner lots, and a 25-foot rear setback. The setbacks for the commercial storage facility will be a 50-foot front setback off of Rocky River Road. The left side will be a 40-foot setback, right side a 10-foot setback, and then the rear setback will be a 10-foot. So this will be the front, this will be the left 40, and then it'll be a 10 along the rear and a 10 along this side right here. The ordinance requires townhome projects to provide a 50-foot landscape buffer in order to screen the project from adjoining land uses. The applicant has provided a landscape plan that includes a mixture of large maturing trees, evergreen trees, and shrubs in order to satisfy the intent and spirit of the ordinance. In cases where the 50-foot buffer is not achieved, the developer will be supplementing the landscaping with within the buffer with a solid opaque fence that will be 6 foot tall. Additionally, the applicant will provide landscaping along James Hamilton Road. So there'll be landscape along James Hamilton Road, this location, as well as Rocky River Road for the storage facility. And then the buffer that surrounds the project is along this area here, and then this area here. And there's cases where you can see where the buffer gets a little skinnier. In those areas where they can't achieve the 50-foot, it goes down to 25 foot, but in those areas they'll be adding a 6 foot high fence to kind of meet the intent of what the ordinance talks about as far as screening it. The open space of the project is required to at least provide 50% of open space per the ordinance. As part of the conditional district, the applicant is providing 61% or 8.77 acres of open space for the townhome portion of the project. The developer is proposing an amenity area for the site just to consist of a green space, and they're going to have a water feature that will be served as part of their detention system. But they'll have a gazebo out in this area that will serve it as, it'll be a wet pond, so it serves as a amenity as well as a function of stormwater requirements based on the city of Monroe. Parking, the ordinance requires multifamily projects to provide at least one space per bedroom, plus an additional half a space per unit. Based on 100 3-bedroom units, there will be a total of 350 parking spaces required for the residential portion of the project. The applicant is proposing for each townhome to have at least one car garage and a paved driveway that will accommodate at least one vehicle. And there are 37 townhome units that will be end units that will have a driveway that can accommodate 2 vehicles. Additionally, the developer is proposing a visitor parking lot at this location here that will accommodate 30 vehicles. So total, they're providing 267 parking spaces out of 350 is required. The self-storage facility is providing a total of 27 parking spaces. And staff is okay with the parking based on with the residential and the commercial. Staff has no issues with the fewer parking spaces. The project does fall within the Porter Ridge Elementary and Piedmont Middle and High School districts. The developer will have 5-foot sidewalks on both sides of the interior streets, and then an 8-foot sidewalk along James Hamilton, as well as Rocky River Road. The developer will be required, and I touched on this a second ago, stormwater management. They'll be required to meet both water quality and water quantity as per the engineering stormwater manual to treat the water for the volume before it leaves the site, as well as to treat it for the water quality aspect before it leaves the site. And all that would be reviewed if approved at the building permit stage. Okay. And as far as the transportation goes, I'll put this up right here. This map is one we received from DOT. So our project site is up in this area right here off the map. This is James Hamilton Road. This is Myers Road. This is Highway 74 and Rocky River Road going north and south. As well as council is aware, DOT is doing the super streets, and this one is going to be the Michigan left. So at this intersection, I'm just going to talk about Rocky River Road and Highway 74 now. At this intersection, as well as now, you can turn left to, if you're on 74, to go either way on Rocky River Road, or you can turn left onto Rocky River Road to go toward Indian Trail or to Monroe on 74. But what's going to happen when they do the super streets is you will no longer be able to turn left at this intersection no longer. You will not be able to turn left off of Rocky River Road to go toward Monroe, nor off Rocky River Road to go toward Indian Trail, nor will you be able to turn left off of 74 to go either direction as that way or that way on Rocky River Road. You can either, now you will have the ability to go straight across. You can go through the intersection, but you cannot turn left. So if you're needing to go, toward Monroe from coming out from this way, you have to turn right, go do the U-turn, and then go back that way. And there's some of those that are already functioning in the Indian Trail. So that's what's going to happen with that intersection when you get finished doing the improvements in the intersection. And several years ago, prior to me being here in 2008, the city had recognized there was some issues at that intersection because obviously, if you're familiar with the area, it backs up quite a bit on James Hamilton Road. If you're trying to turn left on it, it's about impossible, and it'll back up. It stacks up beyond Myers Road from the traffic. So the city had recognized some issues with that, the way the traffic flowed at the intersection. So when DOT came out with a super street proposal, the city had DOT look at it, and as far as we've actually contributed money toward this improvement. And this map shows right here. And then I don't have a map that showed it all together, unfortunately. But at the bottom would be 74. This is Rocky River. This is James Hamilton Road. And this is Myers Road. So in the effort to help traffic flow better, and obviously since you're not having any left turns at the intersection of Rocky River, you have less traffic sequence of the light sequence. And so basically you're just moving traffic north and south and east and west. You're not having to do left turns. So what DOT proposed is that take James Hamilton Road, instead of doing that, it's going to go here, and they're going to jog Myers Road, where Myers Road and James Hamilton Road will meet directly across from each other. This portion of James Hamilton Road will still remain intact. As part of the developer, they were having to dedicate right-of-way to DOT, and then there'll be a left turn lane installed on James Hamilton Road to turn left into their project site, as well as there'll be a left turn lane that will turn left into, I call it the old James Hamilton Road. So you can still access this property here to the back of this property here. The only thing with Myers Road is they'll just shift the Myers Road to where it just will perpendicular intersect with Rocky River Road rather than it does at an angle now. Along Rocky River Road as well too, you'll be able to turn right into, I'll call it the old James Hamilton Road, and you'll be able to turn right out of the old James Hamilton Road. You will not be able to turn left. There will be a concrete median at this location here, so you cannot turn left into there. I know I just went over a lot, so that goes over transportation improvements. But at the end of the day, this project will be required to have a left turn lane that's going to be constructed at this location. They did do a traffic study for this project, and that's what came out of the traffic study. There were no improvements that were recommended at Rocky River Road, so there will be no left turn lane at Rocky River Road into the storage facility. These are proposed elevations the developer's proposing for it. The building exterior materials for the proposed townhome project will be brick, stone, fiber cement siding. Developers proposing the front elevation consists of a minimum of 25% brick or stone. The minimum heated square footage will be 1,400 heated square feet. Per the building requirements as far as for the commercial portion of the project, the developer had different elevations of different storage facilities, but what the plan board recommends was the proposed elevation of the brick and the glass exterior. The developer, to my knowledge, has not picked a end user, but that's just an example of an elevation the plan board recommended, and the developer agreed with that recommendation to have the exterior building look similar in fashion to this. The project is consistent with the land development plan. This project is in a neighborhood mixed-use node, which talks about different types of housing with varied lot sizes and also with commercial within the area too. So the project is consistent with the land development plan. The applicant held a neighborhood meeting on Tuesday, July 17th to discuss the project. There were a few people at the meeting. Concerns raised at the meeting were the traffic and density of the project. Staff has also received phone calls since that time expressing concerns about the traffic in the area. Staff did send out notifications for this meeting tonight, as well as post a property. We sent out 27 letters for the site tonight. Plan board did recommend the approval of the project. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any at this time too.
David, you said that it should have 350 parking spaces, but it's only have 267?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's, majority of them will have one-car garages?
All of them will have a one-car garage.
All will have.
The only difference, the little caveat there was all townhomes have one-car garages, and they all have a driveway that will accommodate at least one vehicle. But there's 37 townhomes that will have driveways that can accommodate two vehicles, and so that, and combined with the one car, based on the driveway, either one or two car in the driveway and the garages and the additional 30 spaces for the visitor parking, that's how you come up with the 267.
Aesthetically, doesn't that look weird?
Well, as far as,
Some places got 3, one is the car in the garage, then 2 in the yard. It's no uniformity to it.
well, the only difference is that the end units have a little more of a wider driveway since they have more room in there. Because obviously, if it's townhome beside townhome, they're in the middle, you only have room for a one-car garage and one in the driveway. And so where they made up the additional parking space was on the end unit, so they were able to fan the driveway out a little bit wider. But all the townhomes will have one-car garage and at least have one in the driveway. But there will be 37 that will have a wider driveway that can accommodate two vehicles in the driveway.
And existing properties out there now have 2.8 units per acre. And this one I have 103 units would be 6.9 per acre.
Yes, ma'am. It would be 100 units for a density of 6.9. Yes, ma'am.
Very dense. Now, with the meeting that were held with the people living close by, the general consensus was not to agree with it or to agree with it?
Not to what?
Not to agree with this project or to agree with it?
At the meeting, the neighborhood meeting we held, it was held at the library, Union County Public Library, and there was 3 people in attendance. And I'm not going to say they necessarily disagreed or agreed with the project. They were concerned about the traffic, how the traffic functions in there because of the way it backs up now.
Okay. And with the phone calls that you have, what was the general consensus?
Again, just concerned about the traffic.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the Michigan plan, that's not going to improve traffic. It's still going to be backed up.
I think with the super streets, it will improve the traffic because obviously there will be less backing up because there will no longer be anybody turning left at the intersection. Now how much it improves it, I'm not an engineer to be able to speak to that, but if you have what it's going to allow for more east and west on 74 and more north and south on Rocky River. So you'll no longer be able to have you won't be able to have to wait for people trying to turn left at the intersection off of 74 on the Rocky River. So do I think it improves it? I think it improves it, but can I quantify how much it would improve it? That I don't know.
Thank you.
Council, have any other questions?
I have a question. You stated that the elementary school for this area is going to be Porter Ridge and the high school is going to be Piedmont. Why, is that the information you received from the school system?
It is, and that's common. I mean, just because you go to Porter Ridge Elementary doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go to Porter Ridge Middle and High School. I mean, it's just the way it's broken up between the middle and the high schools.
I'm just wondering why they would separate them that way, because, you know, the Porter Ridge has the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. So it would just seem that once students start out at the elementary level at Porter Ridge, that it would be good for the family to just continue throughout that system there.
Yeah, and I don't disagree, but from my kids going to Piedmont themselves, I mean, there's a lot of kids that end up going to Piedmont Middle that had previously gone to Porter Ridge Elementary.
Would these townhomes be multi-age, not geared toward any age?
No, ma'am. I mean, they're open market would be able to
No
purchase them.
price point?
No, the developer probably better speak to that than I can.
Any other questions to the council? Hearing none, thank you, Doug.
All right.
This is a public hearing. I have some folks signed up to speak, and I'm going to take them in order of the way they were signed up. And if you will, if you can hold it to 3 minutes, we would certainly appreciate that, because we've got a lot to hear from tonight. So it's the first one I have signed up is Mr. Jack Gilmore. If you'd like to come and speak, sir, we'll recognize you at this time. And sir, if you would, give us your name and address. I know I have it for the clerk, so for the record, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Jack Gilmore. My address is 4103 Compostela Court. That's in the St. James community in Monroe. And we're right off of James Hamilton near this proposed building project. I wanted to be heard, but I wasn't sure I wanted to be first. So there were some statistics that stuck out. And the first one was, at a previous meeting, did I hear him say there were 3 people in attendance at the library? That brings up the fact that although I've said the developer tried to get in touch with neighbors, they must have done a poor job, because we were not alerted to any of these goings on. The second number that stood out to me was the 100 townhomes and 260-something parking spaces. If you live along James Hamilton, I'm here to tell you that traffic is a nightmare during rush hour. I'm an early riser. I leave the house at 7 o'clock a lot of mornings. And if you get at that intersection at 10 minutes till 7, you might make it through. But the traffic does back up on James Hamilton and on Rocky River past Myers Road. With the potential for, let's say you have the husband and wife both working, there could be 200 cars leaving that lot during rush hour. That is going to be horrendous for the traffic along that development. That's the main thing in my comments is traffic, traffic, traffic. And you know, if they were approved for 37 duplexes, to see it jump to 100 townhomes with very little feedback from any of the neighbors, I think would be disaster. I urge the council members, before you vote, come drive down James Hamilton at 7 o'clock in the morning and witness for yourself how heavy the traffic can be. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next one is Michael. I'm sorry, I can't make out your last name. Michael Minhill. Yes, sir. Would you like, I'm sorry?
Was it the verge? I just don't speak out of turn.
No, no. Well, I'm just taking them as an order, as the way you signed up.
I just want to make sure it was me.
I was,
It's not the best
yeah,
sometimes, I
I mean,
apologize.
I started to take them in that order, but
No, that's
folks,
fine.
the way they sign up, they want to speak, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
No problem. If you give us your name and address, sir, for the record, please.
Sure. It's Michael Thieberg. I live in Mint Hill, 6720 Hollow Oak Drive. Thanks everybody for your time and hearing me tonight.
3 minutes, please.
Yeah, it's 10-4. Wanted to clarify a few things about the application. I think the traffic is the number one thing I'm hearing. I'm here to speak on behalf of the developer and the applicant. We met extensively with NCDOT and the city on the traffic starting, I think, as early as last fall. The DOT has their own study to make their basis on where they're pulling James Hamilton up to, which is, on here about this area to align with Myers. The studies that they've run for the past, 4 to 5 years leading up to that construction is that when they improve 74 and they also realign James Hamilton, that to everyone's concern and the point, which is a completely valid concern, that the traffic is not going to back up to the new intersection of James Hamilton and Myers and Rocky River. That's with the improved traffic flow at 74. That's what they've based their location of this new intersection on, to try to make sure that traffic now is going to flow from James Hamilton onto Rocky River and onto 74. And that we did a separate study from that, tagging onto their study, to show that with these new trips, these 200 cars per day possibly that was mentioned, that we would not further exacerbate that issue, that new intersection location, those new traffic improvements would still function the way they intended. And that's why they had not asked us to do any additional improvements out there on Rocky River, on 74, which we did have to study both those intersections, just the left turn lane into the site. A couple other things in the time I had left, the comprehensive plan, we're trying to just enact that plan. The plan for this area calls for around 4 to 10 units per acre, depending on how close you are to 74 and major intersections. And we're coming in at 7, just halfway in between that, just trying to strike a good balance, just since we're not right on the corner and we're a little bit further back and trying to, transition into the more rural areas behind us. And another question, that we were not age targeted, we're just a traditional single family development, and that we were favorably looked on by the planning board 8-1. And I do appreciate that, and I apologize if some people were not notified. We reached out to the folks that were on the list, and obviously others were welcome to attend, and I hope you find out more about what you wanted to hear tonight at the council meeting. And I'm happy to answer any other questions that might
So who
be.
did you say you were with?
I'm here speaking on behalf of the
Who are you
applicant.
with?
I'm with Bowler Engineering in Charlotte.
Okay. Were you the engineer for this project?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what method did you use to contact people? What list?
It's a certain distance off of the property.
No. What list? You
What?
said you got it from a list. What list?
Just us and Doug. There's
You don't know what list?
just GIS. The property owner. Just public
I
record.
mean, where did you get the list? Did you generate it, or where did the list come from?
The city staff and we worked on it together, just based on
So
the.
you saying that the city gave you the list that didn't reach you with 3 people?
It only goes a certain distance away from the property, and so at
That's
that.
not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you about the specific list that you used to notify people of the meeting.
That list was we in the.
You don't know, do you?
I think he said that the city provided the
Yeah,
list.
the city, the staff, we always help people with the list though, so what we do, we notify people.
But did you provide the list?
Yeah, 150 feet in front
How
of the
many
property.
people were on the list that you provided for?
Not as many as which I.
It was more than 3 though, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was more than 3?
Oh, yeah, more than
It was more. It was maybe 20, or I can't recall. It was in that ballpark. Yeah, possibly.
Oh, thank you.
No, fair enough. I apologize. Wasn't clear on your question.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Wright, we recognize you at this time.
Good evening, and thank you for having us.
3 minutes, please.
We have several things that we'd like to address. I'm Vi White. I live at 2916 Lake Jamesport in Monroe in St. James Villas. The first thing I'd like to address is the notification. I understand that they only contacted people within 200 feet of this particular development. It was kind of convenient to go over to the BP station. I guess they'd like to sell gas to another 100 homeowners that have cars. I mean, there's not that many people there. And I think that they were unfair in the sense that James Hamilton Road meets up with Secret Shortcut. It's exactly, approximately 1.3 miles. Now, if you think about the number of homes that are already off of James Hamilton and that short piece where it connects on Secret Shortcut, you'll understand that we have already 182 homes on that short distance of road. And that could put as many as double that number of cars, 360 cars, people going in and out to and from work and school. If you add another 100 homes on there, you could have as many as 200 more cars coming out on that space. That traffic that you're already describing is hellacious. There's absolutely no way you can really get out conveniently on either end, because when you go down Fowler Secrest, if you go down there and try to turn onto Secrest Shortcut Road, you can't make a left turn there hardly either because the traffic coming down towards 74. You're eliminating the fact that we could even turn left off to James Hamilton, and you're trying to force us on only to make right turns. Additionally, we'd have that same problem if you go to Secret Shortcut. One of the things that we wanted to bring up is the fact that not only do you have this 100 townhome proposal, but you also have Simpson Farm. And Simpson Farm is going to go behind Carrington, and you have one exit there too, and that's going to throw them onto Fowler Secrest, and they'll have to come up either to James Hamilton or go to 74. So you're going to have additional traffic from that. As far as your changes for the super streets and making the Michigan lefts, all it's going to do for Rocky River is all those people in the right lane who want to make right turns are going to be constantly making a right turn, because the only time they have a traffic stop is when the red light is for the left turn people off of 74 onto Rocky River.
That's right, you want
So,
to back it up.
Yeah,
Back
it's
it up.
going to back up.
No, wrap it up, please.
I'm
giving everybody-
sorry.
I'm giving everybody the same amount of time. I gotta hold you to it.
I'm sorry.
Please.
I've got several more things I want to say, because I think this is an important part of our
I
community.
understand, but if I give you 10 minutes, I gotta give everybody else. 10
All
minutes.
right, well, you're taking up my time. Let me
Well, I'm gonna allow you another minute, so I took it
All
up.
right, the main thing is the traffic, but also the fact that you've got a commercial unit going in there. That storage building, there's 4 storage units within 1.5 miles already of that area. Why do you need a 3-story storage building there? And we want to see you go back to the original Fowler Glen. That would be acceptable. We'd love to have residential and certainly not any businesses there. So that would be acceptable, with the exception of whatever commercial portion they had. We need to know exactly what they're planning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't like to cut anyone off, but I gotta treat everybody the same. All right. Barbie, if you'll give the clerk your name and address, sir, for the record. Thank you, sir. 3 minutes, please.
The name is Marty Barbie. The address is 2806 North Rocky River Road here in Monroe. I want to speak in opposition of this project. My property is 2 parcels over from the proposed commercial aspect of this development. Traffic, the gentleman said. I cannot get out of my driveway in rush hour, whether it be AM or PM. Traffic backs up from Highway 74 on beyond our driveway, which is almost a half of a mile. I'm for development. I want to sell my property at some point in the future, and I want to make a ton of money. I'm for development when it is feasible and when it works. This is not going to work. We're not going to be able to access our property. We actually have a business there. And sometimes I have to pull trailers to get out of my property to go where I'm going to try and conduct my business. I can't turn left because I'll block traffic headed north on Rocky River Road. Kind people will give me a spot to get out, but I can't get out without blocking traffic because traffic is backed up such a ridiculous amount from Highway 74. I can't turn right because I can't stay in the road with my trailer. So I have to either leave early or late with regard to rush hour, which is about 6:45 to about 8 o'clock in the morning. The notification process, with all due respect, was a shambles. My next door neighbor, whose property is directly beside the proposed development, did not get any type of notification whatsoever, nor did my in-laws, which are to my right. I'll speak on their behalf, Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Ivy, got no letter whatsoever. So, fail on that. We got our letter, we did get a letter, but we got it 3 days prior to the meeting. We had to be out of town, couldn't make the first meeting in May. The proposed traffic changes that are on the books now will be a huge pain for us trying to access Highway 74 from Rocky River Road. But they may alleviate some of the current traffic situations. When you add everything that's proposed here, it's going to be a total nightmare for traffic. Finally, the proposed commercial development, we're talking about a 3-story storage facility. I'm guessing it's about 100 by 300 feet. I don't see how that fits in with the, I don't see how that fits in to the community whatsoever.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I have a Gene signed up to speak. Gene, will recognize you this time, sir. You'll give the clerk your name and address, please, sir.
Yes, sir.
And 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. My name is Gene Vaughn. I live at 5300 Woodridge Drive in Monroe. I come to you tonight representing the ownership group. I am thankful, having been reared in this community, to be standing before you tonight. A couple things that I would like to point out to you, if I might. When we presented this project to the planning board, not often do developers come in the presence of governmental and volunteer professionals like yourself and get feedback that we can use and apply to a project. And that's what happened with the planning board. They asked tremendous questions. They gave us the feedback we needed. It allowed us at that particular meeting to have the developer here. The rendering you saw for the exterior of that building was one of 3 choices that were presented to the planning board. So we were able to move the project forward and reflect some of the feedback that the planning board had given us. We do realize that the traffic flow and all of that in this area is troublesome. The realignment that the developer has provided to DOT with James Hamilton and Myers Road is our effort to try to do what we can to assist with that particular intersection and do the things that are within our control to make the situation better, not necessarily make it worse. I'll tell you that it's been pointed out relative to the density. This is the mixed-use corridor as is presented by the county staff or the city staff to mix residential and commercial use in this particular corridor. And it's the developer's effort to try to make sure that we do that in a controlled way, try to bring something that would be a benefit to the community. present opportunities for growth and traffic flow as it relates to individuals moving around the town, and do so in a way that represents someone that's being conscious to the needs of the community and trying to do a quality effort in everything they do. Any questions that I can answer on behalf?
Okay. Thank you, Gene.
Yes, sir.
Okay, as this is a public hearing, at this time, is any question, council got any questions for any of these folks?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am.
I drive North Rocky River quite often. I have a daughter that lives out of Hamilton Place.
Okay.
And the traffic is backed up. During the time, I go early in the morning, late afternoon, and the traffic is backed up halfway up that road. So, in my opinion, with an additional, possible addition of 267 more vehicles, it is going to be a traffic. Another thing that concerns me, even though it's mixed use, the design of that building, it being 3 stories, does not fit in the atmosphere of that particular, because most of those are family homes, and that stands out like a sore thumb to me. And I didn't like the distance requirement. Now they're doing 2.9, they're gonna go from that to 6.9. I wasn't in favor of that.
Mayor, if I could just, is that all that signed up for the public hearing?
Yes, let me go ahead and close the public hearing. We had,
Ask if anyone else wishes to speak.
does anyone else who would like to speak, either in favor or in opposition? Hearing none,
You have one.
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir, come right. I'm sorry, I didn't see you over there.
My name is Stephen Sechrist. I live at 3402 Fowler Sechrist Road. I've heard a lot of comments about traffic trying to exit James Hamilton. Even if they realign it, all those cars have to turn left on Rocky River, and it's going to be impossible to turn left on Rocky River. I live in the last house on Fowler Sechrist before Sechrist Shortcut, and I live probably 3/10 of a mile from the intersection, and traffic normally in the afternoon backs up past my house on that end. And it's the same way when you go Fowler Sechrist to the Bob Mayberry, that area. So it's not just the traffic, and I agree, it's impossible to go and get on Rocky River and go that way, but the traffic backs up on in every direction. And to me, I don't understand the DOT's logic with these not letting anybody turn right. And also, Rocky River is the main way for people who live on that side of the county to get access to the new expressway. So that's going to be, as it gets more popular, there's going to be lots more traffic on Rocky River just to go to the expressway because of the access there. I thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is anyone else who would like to speak? If you'll come forward, if you'd like to speak. Ma'am, if you give your name and address for the clerk, please, in 3 minutes, if you will.
Hi, my name is Jean Marie Scarlett. I live at 3109 Apricot Lane in Monroe in the Hamilton Place subdivision right off James Hamilton. And I've heard a lot of discussion. I share everyone's concerns with the traffic. And respectfully, I would say that while traffic is a large issue, I want to humanize it a little bit and talk about safety and what that means. So we're talking about that bottleneck right there at that turn and how you're going to solve for that. But basically what you're doing, and I think it's kind of lost, is that further down that small snippet of road, which is essentially a country road, it's not intended to have that kind of traffic flow. And you're putting in 100 units that are going to be young families, usually they're starter homes, young children, people going to school. And you're dumping a whole lot of traffic around blind curves. There's an intersecting road that comes down from where the trooper station is. And I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. And coming out of the Hamilton Place subdivision, there's a hill. So when people are coming out, they can't see, and they're coming flying down that road. People go too fast as it is, and you're now putting more children in that area and less control on the traffic, and you've not talked anything at all about how you're going to control the traffic that goes further down that road. It is a country road. when you're talking about traffic and this kind of population and such on a country road, I think you really have to humanize it a little bit more. It's not just traffic, which is a thing. It's somebody's child that could be walking in the street, that somebody wasn't paying attention. You have teenagers driving down that road. You have to think about what the human cost is going to be. It's not just traffic and inconvenience. It's safety. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? I'm sorry, ma'am. What?
Can we just have everyone to raise their hand if they're here for opposition?
If you give me 1 minute, I'm going to answer this gentleman here. Yes, sir. Did you want to speak, sir?
Yes, very quickly. My name is Gordon Barnes. I'm a newcomer to this area. I actually came from the Lake Norman area in Mooresville, so I've known about traffic and the way that it develops over a 25-year period for 25 years.
Can you give your address?
I'm sorry, yes. I'm on Telfair Lane, 2905. I moved here 5 months ago to be closer to family, and that's fine. However, if I had been aware that this was the sort of this sort of project was in planning already, all of these people have described very well the horrible situation in traffic. It's very, very difficult. It's dangerous. People get very upset. You can't turn left. You can't turn right. People can't get out of their properties. This project is going to make this much worse. And I know the idea is that if you study this area, what happens, but we all live on the same planet. In this case, we live in the same town, and all you're doing is moving this problem to somewhere else. We need a much larger consideration of the effects of the traffic pattern that this will arise. It's dangerous. It's very upsetting for people, and this is people's daily lives on a daily basis. It's not about money. It's about the quality of life. And I would, had I known that this project was going to be where I very closely live, it's difficult enough to get around now, but I certainly, because I've experienced this for 25 years, I certainly would have thought very seriously about moving here. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mayor.
Yeah, 1 minute. Ms. Vine, your question was what again, please?
Could we please have everyone in opposition to raise their hand?
Yes, I will allow that, but I'll also have to ask the ones who are in favor also. I'll have to do it both ways. So, if you would like to raise your hand, the ones here in opposition of this project, please raise your hand. All right, thank you very much. Now, the ones in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, very good.
Mayor, I make a motion to adopt resolution denying land development plan compliance.
Second.
Second.
But
Wait, I haven't closed the public hearing.
Yes, sir, may I make a request?
Yes.
We have an opportunity to hold a larger community meeting, with all the folks that come out here tonight to try to work with them, and try to satisfy their concerns.
Well, it is up to council. If council wishes to table the item to your October meeting or your November meeting, you can do that, or you can go ahead and move along with the process of making a determination.
I move that we move along.
I move that we move
process.
along, and I've made the motion to deny land development plan compliance.
All right.
And I second.
Okay.
Let's do it again.
All right, let me get a handle on this thing now. I'm hearing from 2 or 3 different places. All right, you made the motion.
Yes.
Okay, and who seconded?
I did.
Lynn is second. I have a motion.
well, we have to close the
You
public
got to be
hearing.
stated.
I think you already did, but I think
you already did.
formally, Mayor, you may just want to go ahead and note that so it's absolutely clear that you've closed the public
Okay.
hearing.
All right.
And close
This
several.
time, we'll close the public hearing and take action. I have a motion, and I have a second on the, what is your motion, sir? Again, I heard it.
Motion to deny land development plan compliance.
Okay,
Second.
I have a second on that. All in favor?
Hold on, before you, it's to adopt the resolution denying. land development plan.
Gee, I've read it 3 times.
However, the last time you read it, the magic word wasn't in there, so I'm just trying to help the council on it.
Yeah, good.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Well, I'm sorry, the mayor gets to call that, sir, not the mayor pro tem.
No, you
Can we
want to
move
read
on?
that again?
That's, no, I think he's read it now.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
it's
saying.
said, and
All
then
right.
you can call the vote, Mayor.
Okay, very good. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass.
Motion to deny zoning map amendment.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Next.
That's it, Mayor.
Okay. That is the project is allowed. All right. Item.
Mayor.
Yes.
You send that to me, they wanna leave,
Yeah, okay. I'll tell them that. They don't know that. Okay. We'll be going into the rest of the agenda. If you'd like to stay, well, you're welcome to stay. If you'd like to leave, you can at this time. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the agenda if you'd like.
Thank you.
All right, item 12, zoning map amendment request for zone property located on Medlin Road from conditional district. Mr. Doug Britt, sir.
Good evening. This is a request to rezone the property from conditional district 1122 Medlin Road to conditional district Medlin Forest. Subject property is a total of 28.11 acres. Property is outlined in blue and is located along Medlin Road. And towards, on top of the map is Sunset Drive. Give me a reference. All the subject properties outlined in blue and all the surrounding properties are zoned single-family residential R20. The applicant, BRD Land and Investment LP, is requesting conditional district rezone in order to develop a 68-lot, age-targeted, single-family residential subdivision. Total area of the project is 28.11 acres with 23% or 6.5 acres of open space. The density of the project is 2.42 units per acre. And just remind the council about the age targeted. The age targeted means that they market it and gear it toward the older population, but it's somebody in there with 20, in their 20s with 4 kids who live there as well. So that's kind of how they market it, but it's not age restricted, just age targeted toward the older population. The lots range in size from 7,800 square feet to 18,174 square feet. Front setback will be 25, side setback of 10, and then a rear setback of 25. The applicant will have at least 1 tree planted per yard as well as street trees. The proposed buffer, they'll have a buffer along the project that's basically is a 50-foot buffer around the whole entire project, with the exception of when you get to this area right here, a little bit to the north, it goes down, I think, to about 25. But all this property right now, if you'll see back on the aerial map, this is all wooded. So it's not been farmed over the years, it's all wooded. But they are going to retain the trees along the buffer to create a natural buffer. And like I said, it will be 50 foot with the exception of that area right through there. The open space required is at least 12.5%, which would equal 3.5 acres. The applicant is providing 23% or 6.5 acres. The developer is proposing the amenity area to consist of a picnic pavilion with fire pit and open recreational areas. Additionally, the project will have walking trails connecting the cul-de-sacs to the managed area. Trails will be located to preserve as many existing trees as possible. Each home will have a 2-car garage and will have a driveway large enough to accommodate 2 vehicles as well. There will be 5-foot sidewalks provided on both sides of the interior streets, as well as an 8-foot sidewalk along the road frontage of Medlin Road. The project will be required to provide stormwater management consistent with the engineering requirements that would treat both the water quality and the water quantity of the site. This project was routed to DOT, since Medlin Road is a state-maintained road, and based on the number of lots and the projected traffic generation, there was no improvements required for Medlin Road as far as turn lanes, so there'll be no turn lanes required for this project. The project is located in the East Elementary School District and Monroe Middle and Monroe High. Developers posting the exterior material is to be brick, stone, fiber cement, and fiber shake accents. The minimum heated square footage of the homes will be 1,700 square feet heated with 2-car garages. Garages will have carriage style hardware. And the project, let's see, these are the elevations proposed. And the project does fall within the suburban land use classification, which allows 2 to 4 units per acre. And this project is consistent with that at 2.42 units per acre. The applicant held a neighborhood meeting on Monday, July 8th to discuss the project. And there was a few people in attendance, and most of the people, they were supportive of the project. Staff mailed out 30 adjoining property layers for the meeting tonight, as well as posted the property. Planning board did recommend approval of the project to City Council. I'll be glad to answer any questions. And
with the 30 letters that you mailed out, did you get any replies?
I've had a few. I mean,
Were they positive or negative?
yeah, but the one we got early on, in which the engineer, she was able to address concerns. There was a concern early on about where the access driveway for the project, the access road for the project, lined up directly across from. And I can't remember if it was further. I think it was further down this way. It lined up directly across to somebody's driveway, and he had concerns about that. No, but after they met with DOT and based on, in that part of Medlin Road, there's a curve and a hill right there, and based on the location, they wanted access relocated anyway. So when it was relocated, he was satisfied. But I hadn't really had. I mean, just a couple calls just inquiring about nothing overly.
Basic information.
Yeah, just basic information. Yes, ma'am. I'll be glad to answer any questions, and the applicant's also here.
Any other questions, Mr. Britt? Hearing none, thank you, Doug. This is a public hearing. This time, we have people sign up to speak. The first one I have signed up to speak is Robert. Is that reading that right? Mr. Robert? Yes, sir. If you'll give your name and address to the clerk for a record, sir, in 3 minutes, please.
Sure, it'll be less than that.
Thank you very much.
My name is Robert Hamby. I live at 1207 Keswick Place. And I actually am here tonight because I had so little information about this. I understand tonight, I just learned apparently there was a meeting, and I didn't receive notification of the meeting that was held for adjacent property owners. Because if I had seen this development, I probably wouldn't be here, because it honestly looks like a pretty nice development. And if I have to have something, abutting my property, looks like I could do much worse than this. So I was here to object, but thank you.
Thank you very much. Sarah Shirley, am I saying that right? Miss Shirley?
Thank you very much for having us here tonight. I am Sarah Shirley with American Engineering, representing the applicant for the project. Address is 8008 Corporate Center Drive in Charlotte. And genuinely, we're just really excited about this project. We think the site is really well situated, close to personal service industries, having an age-targeted program to our development. We're not remiss in understanding we're very close to assisted living facilities and a hospital, so we automatically have some service centers close to our property. In terms of, to build on what Doug was talking about for an age-targeted site, basically we are going to propose passive amenities for the site, so trails, the trail system that connects all the cul-de-sacs. It will connect all the cul-de-sacs, number one, and will provide overall a half-a-mile trail connection to connect all the cul-de-sacs. Combined with the internal sidewalk system, we'll have over 1.5 miles of connected trails, so everybody can get their miles in every day if they want to. In terms of the passive recreation opportunities, besides the trails, we'll have a picnic pavilion and a fire pit. And all the homes are going to be 1 story, 1.5 stories, master down to really target the older, wiser community. 55.
Well seasoned.
Yes, exactly. The ones we can all benefit from. So we just want to say thank you again, and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
For the younger families that may have kids, that will feed into the Monroe High School system or the Monroe schools?
It would feed into, I think Doug had listed out the schools, the East Elementary School, Monroe Middle, and Monroe High. Okay. Yeah, which are all under capacity right now.
Yeah, that's good.
Any more questions? Apologize for this phone, it's a new one and I got it on silent, but it ain't working. So I apologize for that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
There's a public hearing. Is anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Yes, sir, if you come to the podium, sir.
Jerry Bastine.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for hearing me out. I live on 1122.
Address, please, for the record.
I live on 1122 Midland.
Oh, I'm sorry you were doing that. Thank you, sir.
I didn't know anything about this till just the other day. I'm about ready to have a cow about it. And the only reason is I have to fight people off my property now. I own 9 acres, and it's all adjacent to that. I actually have to fight people now. I have people driving. I have a large pond, and I actually had to put a gate up to keep people from coming over wanting to fish, because I have a lot of bass and trout in that pond, and they want to fish in there. If this goes up and I don't have any kind of a border between this and my property, and I see somebody on my property, and I will put a no trespassing sign, and if I see somebody on my property using any of my facilities, first I will call the law, and this will be done on an hourly basis. I'm retired. A daily basis, eventually somebody is going to get the word, or the police will not come out. And if the police don't come out, I'm going to get me some good dogs to keep people off my property. So I may agree to this if there's a good 200 foot easement in between and fencing. So the average young person that gets the word that there's good fish in my pond that wants to come fishing there off my property. That's about all I want to say, but I think they should have let people know about this.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Shirley, I believe you said you was representing the builders. Can you address the question that is something about a 200-foot, I'll call it a berm or whatever, it could be whatever. I thought maybe you might want to address his question.
Sir, just to clarify, are you saying you're this property?
That's my property right there. You got your finger on it.
Is your pond, correct? We sent out notices to all the adjacent property owners. Yes, sir, absolutely, by USPS mail, and put the list together.
This is all I got right here.
Okay,
Me too.
okay,
I didn't even know this.
okay. We sent out notices as per requirements and got all the addresses from the GIS system for the city of Monroe and Union County.
That was within the past 5 years?
Yes, sir. It was for a 10-day notice for the neighborhood meeting. In terms of a 200-foot easement, our lots are only 130 feet deep, so we'd automatically be eliminating a majority of our site to accommodate that. I think in terms of if we're worried about trespassing on someone else's property, we'd be more than happy to put signs up on our property to tell people this is the end of our property, no trespassing on the adjacent property. We completely understand the concerns about people trespassing on other people's property. We've had developments in the city before where the concerns were four-wheelers, for instance, coming across. And at that time, we also offered the same thing, to put up no trespassing signs. We'd be more than happy to do that because we don't want to inconvenience our neighbors.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any other questions for council? Okay, thank you, Ms. Shirley. Anyone else here who would like to speak in opposition? Anyone who'd like to speak in favor? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and take action.
Motion to adopt resolution approving land development plan compliance.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then.
Motion to adopt ordinance amending code of ordinance, chapter 156, section 156-106, titled official zoning map.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that'll pass.
Motion to adopt ordinance amending code of ordinances, chapter 156, section 15698, title conditional districts established.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that'll pass. That'll pass. Okay, we'll go to, on item 13, the zoning map amendment request to rezone property located on Concord Road. Captain, sir. Is Doug doing that one? Yes, sir. Okay, I'm sorry.
This project is a request filed by Pace Development Group for the property located off of Concord Avenue and further identified with parcel number 09216-042. The request is to rezone a parcel from residential R20 to conditional district Blue Sky Meadows. The subject property is a total of 118.99 acres. Second property is outlined in blue, located along Concord Avenue. This is the latest aerials we have at this location where the Union County Department of Social Services is located as well. The little square in the middle of it is the location of a church. It's High Hill Primitive Baptist Church, and I would say it's going to stay part of the project. They're building around the church, and the church will have access through their internal streets of the subdivision to get to the church. Again, the property is on R20, as well as the adjacent properties to the west and to the south. The properties to the north is R20, and then the lighter piece right here is R40. And then to the east is R20, and a little bit of portion of GB, and then the conditional district, which is the location of the Department of Social Services for Union County. The applicant Pace Development Group has requested conditional district rezoning in order to develop a 360-lot single-family residential subdivision. The total area of the project is 118.99 acres with 20% or 23.76 acres of common open space. The density of the project is 3.03 units per acre. This shows the overall project. You'll see they have, obviously they got streams going through the middle, as well as they have two access points located off Concord Avenue. And I'll get into a little more transportation a little bit later, but this access point right here is located directly across from an access point for the Department of Social Services. The lots range from 6,000 square feet to 12,728 square feet. with an average of 6,700, a little more, 6,700 square feet. The front setbacks are proposed will be 20 foot, side setbacks are 5, the corner lot setbacks are 10, and the rear is 20. The applicant's proposed for each lot to have at least one tree planted at time of CO, as well as street trees will be provided throughout the project. There'll be a 50-foot landscape buffer located along Concord Avenue. Developer is reserving a minimum of a 25-foot buffer along the 3 remaining sides of the project. Developer plans to utilize existing vegetation in the 25-foot perimeter buffer around the entirety of the proposed community. In cases where there is no vegetation, supplemental planting shall be provided. Additionally, where feasible between the proposed lots and the perimeter property line, the developer is proposing to install a berm. So basically, they'll have a 50-foot buffer, 50-foot buffer along the front, and then along the remaining 3 sides, it's going to be a 25-foot buffer. Where there's existing vegetation, they're going to utilize the existing vegetation as a buffer. Where there's areas where they can add supplemental landscaping too, and where there's nothing, they'll propose to put a berm. Now, at this location, since they're not in design phase yet, all that will not be flushed out until they get to design phase if it's approved. As stated, the applicant there providing 23.7 acres of open space, or 20%. Approximately 6 acres of open space is located within the floodplain, and the open space will include a cabana, park, playground, and a pool. And the open space area where the cabana pool is going to be at this location right here. Now I've got 2 of the pictures, but it shows the site plan broken up in 2 different pages, which is kind of more difficult to look at than just one that shows the whole entire thing. Each house will have a 2-car garage and a paved driveway that will accommodate 2 vehicles. The developer is proposed to install 5-foot sidewalks on all the interior streets, as well as an 8-foot sidewalk along Concord Avenue. The developer required to meet the stormwater requirements for the City of Monroe, which will treat water quality and water quantity, and that will be reviewed at the time of building permit stage. Transportation, as I stated, they have 2 access points to gain into the site, because the only property they frontage, the only road they have frontage on is Concord Avenue. They did conduct a traffic study that was reviewed by both the city and DOT. This intersection right here is already served by a left turn lane into the site. They will be installing a left turn lane on that into their site, as well as installing a right diesel lane. This access right here, per the study, did not require any type of improvements. So this will have no turn lanes whatsoever. So the only turn lanes will be on the site will be at what they call access A. It will have a left turn lane into the site, as well as a right diesel lane into the site. The project does fall within the Porter Ridge Elementary and Piedmont Middle and Piedmont High School districts. These are the proposed elevations, or examples of what the developer is wishing to do. Developer is proposing single-family homes to be a minimum of 1,400 heated square feet. The proposed exterior building materials will include fiber cement, stone, stucco, and brick, vinyl, and aluminum may only be utilized for windows, doors, trim work, and soffits. Garages will include carriage-style hardware, and each house will have a 2-car garage, attached garage with a paved driveway. Project does fall within the suburban classification of the land development plan. It is consistent at that with a density of 3.03 units per acre. The applicant held a neighborhood meeting on August 13th, and there was about 40 people in attendance at the meeting. And some of the comments that come up or concerns raised at the meeting, including the price of the homes, a possible fence and or berm alongside the Hillsdale property line, and traffic concerns in the area and the lot sizes. And the developer, they did go back and revise the plan a little bit, which at the meeting they did commit to doing the berm, but I'll just reiterate, as far as until they get to the plans and doing design, they cannot tell you, nor can I tell you exactly where a berm will be or not will be, but they will definitely have a buffer, whether it be in the form of landscaping or a berm along the Hillsdale property line. And then, like I said, the remaining portion will be either supplemented or berm as well, because their preference is they don't mind doing a berm, but one, with berms, ends up you have drainage issues with berms, so they got to make sure the drainage will work and make sure if there's something already there. I mean, from our standpoint, it doesn't make sense to cut anything down, cut trees down if there's trees already there. But those were some of the concerns raised at the neighborhood meeting. Plan staff did notify approximately 68 layers for tonight's meeting, as well as posted property. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any at this time.
Did you say 40 people attended the meeting?
Yeah, between 30 and 40 people at the meeting. It was a well-attended meeting. We held it at the church there, that's kind of in the middle of the property.
So if this development goes up, it'll be built around an existing church, High
Yes,
Hill
ma'am.
Baptist Church?
Yes, ma'am. And the church, this is the location of the church right here. Oh, sorry, right here.
It's in the middle of it.
Yeah.
You
so
said that part of something, what did you say about a floodplain? Something was.
there's a little bit of floodplain on the property, and part of that floodplain's in common open space.
Probably. You said probably what?
I said there's a little bit of floodplain on the property, and some of the common open space is located in the floodplain for the project.
So theoretically, sometimes part of it will be underwater.
With the floodplain, yeah. I mean, if it rained a lot, though, obviously that's when the water backs up and is into the floodplain area. So that would be within the open space. Yes, ma'am.
Not any houses being built in
No, ma'am.
floodplains then?
No, sir. No, sir. And the common open space that's in the floodplain is not the common open space that has the cabana and the pool area. That's not in the floodplain. Let me just make that clear.
Now, Sunnybrook and Hillsdale already exist right there in the same area.
Yes, ma'am. They are. I mean, Hillsdale is located directly adjacent to it, right here, and of course, Sunnybrook's is the next street.
And that's an older established neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
And Hillsdale, how far is Hillsdale from it?
I mean, Hillsdale is adjacent.
So-
The back of those Hillsdale lots, there's
Okay.
the same lots as theirs.
Do the houses that are proposed look anything like the ones that are already in Hillsdale and Sunnybrook?
Because the Hillsdale houses, they were probably built in the 70s. So, I mean, is it different style of houses now versus built in the 70s? Yeah. I mean,
Most of them are brick homes that's out there already.
yeah, they are. And they, the developer did, they're not providing any vinyl, so it'll be brick, stone, or hardy planks, what their building materials would be. And probably, and based on the elevations, I think a lot of those Hillsdale houses, and I've been down there, I think a lot of those are ranch style houses. And, and these will be a combination of single-story and two-story houses.
Now, with the church being in the middle of the property, do you foresee any problems with going in and out to the church, having activities at the church?
Because the church will have, because the streets will be taken over by the city of Monroe for maintenance, so the church will have, once they leave the church property, they'll have a short driveway, and then they'll turn off their driveway onto a neighborhood street that will be publicly maintained until they get out to Concord Avenue, which is obviously maintained by the city as well.
And
So,
40 people that attended the meeting, they say transportation was an issue.
yeah, let me read it. Let's see. Price of the homes, the possible fence and/or berm along the Hillsdale property line, and traffic concerns and lot sizes.
And this is very close to the new Human Resources Building.
Yeah, it's directly across the street from it. And you can't, because the county we don't have any updated imagery, but the county building is right there.
Council, any other have questions? Here none, this is a public hearing, and at this time, I'll call the folks who have signed up to speak in the order they signed up, and the first one I have is Peter.
Tangi, here in support of the applicant, and we have a presentation, so if there's neighbors here, we would respect them to be able to.
All right, Eric Smith.
Here.
Okay, you want to speak at this time, sir?
Yes, sir.
You will give your name and address to the clerk. I'm sorry.
Mary, is he part of the team with the presentation?
Are you part of the presentation? Let's just hold that all together.
Yeah, I think you may want to go. I think they were.
Let's do that all at one time. That way we can get that, instead of one at a time, if you don't mind, sir. Captain David Simpson, sir.
Please tell me y'all got this letter.
Actually, the council cannot, because anything that's provided to them closer than 2 days before the meeting, they can't consider. So
Okay.
staff did not provide it.
Communication.
That's correct. What you can do is you can talk about what's in the letter.
I will. I don't take up time.
3 minutes.
I called the clerk of court, the clerk's office about 1 o'clock and told them I had a letter I wanted for you boys. They said, bring it up here. The council's meeting at 4 o'clock. We'll see they get it. That's what I was told. I called 282-4502. I have no problem whatsoever with what these men are doing. None at all. This letter here, the gentleman's in the hospital. I'll give you what copies I've got.
No, sir. They can't.
Okay, I love it. All right.
You can talk about what's in it.
I have no problem with what these men are doing. The only thing I've questioned is traffic. Come on, guys. You've only got 2 ways in and out of Blue Sky. 300 houses, 600 cars. They're going to be dumped right out on Concord Avenue. I spoke to Brian about, can we not do something, put some traffic out on Secret Shortcut, or maybe another entrance down over the creek to 601. I understand. I'm not an engineer. Brian's doing the best he can. We had 2 meetings with these people. They've done everything they can to be good to us. Traffic, that's why please don't let all that come on. I live at the corner of Concord and Hillsdale Drive. I've been there 42 years. And it's getting worse. You know that. I'm not trying to sound like, but these guys is right. Please, it's going to wind up like Waxhaw, trying to get in and out of them housing developments. And Rocky River and 74, them guys is telling the truth. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David.
I hate you didn't. Communication, like you said, Ms. Autry, about people being notified of these meetings. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Stephen Fowler Secrets. Can't read it.
Stephen with an S on Valor Seacrest.
Okay. Apparently gone. All right, we'll go back to the top of the list. At this time, the president.
It's up to you. Just go.
Yeah, just do something. I'll do that. Yeah. At this time, we'll call Peter and Eric or the president, whoever's gonna make the presentation.
Pass these out as hard copy.
Actually,
You can't get anything either.
sorry, they can't. If they can't provide statements, you can't provide that.
Okay,
Either.
so we'll go with the digital copy.
You got to go with that. Yeah. Sorry, got to be fair to everybody.
Yeah.
Eric Smith, 6719C Fairview Road, Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm Eric Smith with Pace Development Group, here with my co-workers, Brian Pace and David Faulkner. We've got our planner and our engineer here with us tonight. Pace Development's a longtime Union County developer. We have helped to build 16,000 plus homes in the local metro area, and recently building great neighborhoods in areas such as Iredell County, Fort Mill, Concord, Huntersville, Mecklenburg County. We're excited about this opportunity to bring our experience and success to the city of Monroe. Our objective is to build an attractive and thoughtful neighborhood and provide much needed homes for Monroe and Union County residents. Thank you to Doug and Lisa and Carrie and Sarah, all the professional staff. Had several meetings, all the department leadership been involved through this process, providing comments and guidance. We're happy to say that we've addressed all staff comments. We've worked closely with High Hill Primitive Baptist Church and the neighbors. Community meeting was held at the church on Tuesday, August 13th, and was attended by at least 40 people. I counted a few more than 40 community members. Doug touched on the buffer. That was one of the things that came out of the community meeting and also the planning board meeting. And as Doug described, we have clarified what we're going to do as far as screening and buffer and using existing vegetation around the final three sides of the property. Obviously, we've got all the 50-foot landscape buffer along Concord Avenue. Blue Sky Meadows will offer a mix of attractive elevations, mix of home sizes. They'll have hardy board siding. The facade will be a mix of siding, stone, and brick. We envision home buyers, maybe school teachers, police officers, government workers, young families, and empty nesters who want to live near their children. Blue Sky Meadows will provide quality housing for new and existing City of Monroe residents. We are providing an amenity. The neighborhood will receive a pool, a cabana, and a playground, and we'll also build greenway trails throughout the neighborhood. As Doug touched on, the main entrance to Blue Sky Meadows is located directly across Concord Avenue from an entrance to the County Health and Human Services facility. We're located only 1.2 miles from the Monroe bypass, and the bypass makes this property ideal for residential development. Doug mentioned the neighborhood is consistent with the city's adopted land use plan, and a traffic impact analysis was completed, reviewed, and approved by the City of Monroe. Thank you, and I'm able to answer any questions.
What is the prices of these homes?
They'll be in the high 200s, moving into the 300s, depending on options and the size of the home.
Okay, because I'm concerned with affordability. We do need housing, we need a lot of affordable housing. You say the entrance is directly across from the new Human Resources building, Human
Our
Services?
primary entrance. Yes, ma'am. See if we can pull it up.
And is that the only entrance that it could be? Because there's a tremendous amount of traffic going in and out of there.
They want you to line up with the entrance to the Union County Department of Social Services.
They want you to line up there.
Yes. We've got two entrances. One of them lines up with the Union County building, and then we've got a second entrance.
Okay, who is they?
They would be planning and...
Monroe City Planning?
Yes. That's typically what you do. You wouldn't want to offset your
You said they,
entrances.
did y'all ask them to line up with?
Yeah, typically the thing is they want to line up because there's not a jog in it. So you
Okay,
want
I mean, but the City of Monroe requested that they did that.
the engineering department, yes, it did, as far as for the line directly across from the existing Department of Social Services, yes.
Doesn't that seem like congestion, because there's so much traffic going in and out of there, and if traffic's going in and out the other places,
That's the employees' entrance, so,
the employees
It's
are coming on the back.
yeah, so it won't be as much as you will be from
I think it's their secondary entrance. Yeah.
Yeah, the employees don't use that.
Yeah, but from a transportation standpoint, you'd rather have the entrances lined directly across from each other, it's not conflicting, because if it's a jog in, then you have conflicting left turns. So what happens is that there's already a left turn lane into the DSS.
Yeah.
And what they'll do, they go on the other side, because obviously if you're turning left in Department of Social Services, you'll be coming from 601,
Yeah.
turn left into it. And so if you're going to turn left, and so they already have you widen on that side, and so when they widen on one side of that left turn lane, you have to widen on the other side too, because you can't just, you have to taper it down.
Okay.
And so what this does, this allows for the left turn lanes not to conflict, and so that's why you typically will right across from each other.
So you do have left turn lanes?
Yes, at this
Yes,
access
sir.
point. And like I said, in my presentation, there will be no turn lanes at the other access point. This will have a left turn lane in and also a right deceleration lane to get in, but this one, based on the traffic study and based on the engineer review, this does not warrant a turn lane at all.
So it's a one-way in.
No, you can
Two-way.
turn left getting in, or you can turn right getting in.
Okay.
It's not, I mean, frankly, it's not right in, right out. You can go, it's full movement, you can turn left going in there, you can turn left going out of there. But it did not, based on the traffic study, it did not warrant a turn lane.
It's the second turn lane.
Any other questions?
I don't.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Ms. This is a public hearing. Is anyone else here who would like to speak? Mr. Broom, you'll come to the podium, give your name and address, please, for the clerk. Buddy Road Broom.
William Broom, everyone is Buddy. 504 Hillsdale Drive. Everybody's talking about traffic. Traffic is a problem, but these guys can't control the traffic. The only way they can is to build fewer houses. But I know they can build up to 4 per acre. The problem is children, where they going to school? All the schools in this area is packed, even bringing in trailers. Now, that's a problem for me. I have 2 grandkids. So think about the problem with the kids in school. Traffic's a problem. We got 400 something cars on the other side of where this project is proposed. They go out to 601, but then they'll take a left, go to the traffic light, and turn and come right by us. These people can only go 2 ways, left or right. Turn left, you run into a traffic light, turn right, and you got traffic already.
You said the proposed was 4 homes an acre, was it not? 3.1?
360.
3 to the acre?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a nice project. I'd be glad to have it behind my house if it wasn't for those 2 problems. Traffic, kids going to school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Broom. All right, yes, sir. If you'd like to speak, come.
Yes, sir, please.
Name and address, please.
J. Ross, 1064 Kite Court, Matthews, North Carolina. I've been helping with the project for about a year. Started out with the church. That was the first location that I went to make sure that they were, involved in the process and had positive meetings, and they were involved from day one before this project ever got off the ground. And as far as developers, I was born and raised and went to Monroe High School, so I'm a city of Monroe guy. As far as developers, I'm confident that we brought the best developer in the area to bring a project to the city of Monroe that 10, 15, 20 years from now will be still valuable and still appreciating and not going downhill. When you go right by Brandon Oaks and some of the other developments that they've done, I mean, they're still nice developments. So that's one thing I shared at the community meeting. There was some questions going back and forth, and I mentioned this. I mentioned, well, what about the 5th or 10th developer down the list? Because this is a great location, bypass, it's coming. I said, I can stand here and tell you that this developer is going to put a great product on the ground, and I will be able to stand in front of you 10 years from now and know that what I said was true. That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, sir, recognize you at this time, sir, if you'd like to speak.
My name's Tim Spear, 5522 Concord Highway. I am the treasurer for High Hill Primitive Baptist Church. And I just want to recommend, or not recommend, but I wanted to just commend these gentlemen. We have been involved, just like you said, we have been involved in this process throughout the whole process. And our main concern is keeping our church property sacred. And that from what they have talked to us in the surrounding church area. And they are going to, our entrance will be deviated from what it is right now, but very, very lightly from where it is. It'll come into more or less a T instead of a curve. But we were just very concerned about when we heard about it, about keeping our church property sacred. And but these guys have been, we've talked with them and dealt with them for at least 4 meetings probably. And I have a very good relationship with them so far. And we're going forward.
And you're saying they are keeping your property sacred?
Sir?
You're saying they are keeping it the way sacred as you speak?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, because we talked about, the houses that back up to the church and everything, and they're through their land agreements or their, restrictive covenants. The fencing that will go back there will not be, it will be attractive and be consistent throughout the property. And we've already talked about all that, and we are satisfied with the developer.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Is anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, we hear none. We'll close the public hearing and take action. Okay, anybody?
I make a motion to adopt resolution denying land development plan compliance.
Okay, you see. You make a motion. I'm sorry, would you
To
repeat
adopt
that?
resolution denying land development plan compliance.
All right, I have a motion to deny. How long do you want to wait?
Ask for a second.
Do I have a second on the deny?
If you have none, then Mayor fails for lack of a second.
Okay, that motion fails for the lack of a second. So I have another motion.
Can I ask another question
Yes, sir?
from somebody in the audience? Or is that beyond me now?
No, the council, if the council
Reverend.
wishes to reopen the
Reverend,
public hearing.
you mind coming up?
Who?
Reverend?
The Reverend?
Yes. No, the gentleman in the green. I thought he was. Yes, sir.
He thinks he's a Reverend. I say that because I worked with Pope for 30 years. I want to qualify.
I guess my question is, you're very complimentary of these gentlemen.
Absolutely.
But in the same token, you were just the opposite in the traffic end, so I can't figure, where do you stand?
I'm all for it. Like Tom Hume said in the letter, these guys have been most helpful. They've been meeting with us. But traffic, the engineers have got to get together somewhere and say, yeah, we can put some traffic on Secret Shortcut or put another entrance across the creek going up there near where Boggs is. That's what I'm saying. I've got no problem. Actually, I talked to Brian about picking at him about me and my wife will swap D's with him. I'm getting old. I'm getting tired of yard work. But I've got no problem with this at all. None at all.
Then are you supporting it or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Lynn.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution approving land development plan compliance.
Second.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Have one. You get that, Madam Clerk? Okay. Next.
Motion to adopt ordinance amending code of ordinances, chapter 156, section 156-106, title official zoning map.
Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we have to do this last one for approval.
Yes, actually, you do, sir. You
We do?
Yes.
Motion to adopt ordinance amending code of ordinances, chapter 156, section 156.98, title conditional district established.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. That's it. Okay, that's approved. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be going to close session in a minute.
Mayor,
Yeah.
can I make public comments? Comments since once we go into close, everybody's going to be gone.
Yes, you want to make a comment?
Beth, you stay just a second. If you were talking about traffic Saturday, Beth, if you were talking about traffic in Monroe Saturday, they were all heading to the pop-up event that Beth helped organize from Peddler's Paradise. So I just wanted to give a shout out and thank you for all your work to get all this business
Great
downtown.
turnout.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
Hang in, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
I worked with that joker for 30 years. George probably remembers Pokey when he's on the police car, don't you, Bill? He was always wide open. Okay, at this time, we're going to close session. If someone will read that.
I move to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute, section 143-318.11 and A3 to prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential pursuant to the law of this state or of the United States, are not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the General Statutes to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, to consider and give instructions to an attorney concerning the handling or settlement of a claim, judicial action, mediation, arbitration, or administrative procedure, specifically in the case of Eastwood Construction LLC and Eastwood Construction LLC doing business as Eastwood Homes versus City of Monroe.
Okay. I have a, I'm sorry, I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a motion, a second, all in favor? All right, we go into closed session.
I gotta run the restroom.
Yes, sir.